Hi, and welcome to Squizz.com, the connected marketplace. Today, I'll be taking you on a journey through the latest changes we've made to the Squizz.com connector software in the 1.12 release, showing all the amazing new things it can do. If you didn't already know, the Squizz.com connector is a free piece of software developed by us that allows a business to connect any of their business systems, such as accounting, enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management, and any other systems, databases, spreadsheets, or files storing data into the Squizz.com and Totalix platforms. In simple terms, the connector allows a business to save and make more money by being able to set up and automate data transfer between its systems and other supplier and customer systems. Now you've got a basic understanding of what the connector can do, let's look at the changes we've made to the 1.12 release. This release adds new functionality into the datasets feature, allowing product combination data to be set up within the datasets in the connector application. We introduced the concept of datasets back in the 1.10 and 1.11 connector release videos, and we're going to be talking more about datasets in this video. So if you're unfamiliar with the datasets feature, I highly recommend watching these videos first before continuing on. You can find links to the release videos in this YouTube video's description. Additionally, in the improvements into the 1.12 release, we've added the ability to be able to show the product name column in all the places where products can be assigned to different kinds of data in datasets. Now, before I show you the new product combination dataset feature in the connector, I want to first make sure that you know what product combinations are. So here we have an example business that is selling clothing, specifically t-shirts. And as we can see, they're selling many different kinds of colors and sizes for the same cotton t-shirt. And the same goes for the woolen t-shirt, where we have many different sizes and colors for the same style of t-shirt. Now for customers, this can get pretty arduous having to scroll through every different color and size to find the right cotton or woolen t-shirt they wish to buy. Considering just how many shapes and sizes humans come in, there could be tens if not hundreds of the same t-shirt that comes in a range of different colors and sizes. So to avoid customers having to scroll through many of the same t-shirt styles, we can introduce the concept of product combinations. This allows products that don't physically exist, but instead represent a range of products. So if we introduce combination products in our example list here, we can reduce the amount of t-shirts displayed down from tens down to just 2, as we can now see in the list here. So the user only have to choose from 2 t-shirt options as opposed to almost 20 t-shirt options. Now that looks a lot easier for customers to search through. If we click on one of these combination products, then in its products details, we can see there are 2 options that allows the user to choose from to select their size and color. I can get a blue t-shirt, I can get a green t-shirt, or I can get a red t-shirt. And then I can choose my size from medium to small or large. Once both these options have been selected, then the combination of these options determines the final physical product that the user can purchase from. So we started off with a parent cotton t-shirt product that represented a range of products, and then we've finally been able to refine and filter down to the final small red cotton t-shirt, which the user can then select how much they want to buy from and purchase it off the business. So product combinations makes it easier and quicker for customers to initially find the products that they are looking for, then further refine the product they wish to purchase based on selecting from defined options. In our example here, we are looking at t-shirts, but product combinations can be used for many different kinds of products, such as phones, where you can choose the size or the amount of storage space a phone can have, as well as color. Or we could use car parts, where users can interchange different parts based on being genuine or aftermarket products. We could choose from snow skis, where the user could choose between different binding options. We could choose from bolts, users being able to choose between galvanized, zinc bolts, and bolts made of other materials. We could choose to set up product combinations for guitars to be able to choose between slim necks or between different strings or pickups for a guitar. Product combinations can be used anywhere where you wish to give users option on how to further refine the product, as well as reducing the need for them to search through too many products within a single listing. So now that you've now got an understanding of product combinations, let's now go into the Squizz.com connector to see how a business selling products can set up this data in the datasets feature that exists within the Squizz.com connector. Within the Squizz.com connector, if we click on the datasets tab, once we've already created a new dataset, if we go then and click on the view button to view the dataset, we can see that there is a new tab that has been added called combinations. Before I go into that, we can see that there's already been some products that have been imported or set up into the dataset. So we have products for each of our different size t-shirts for cotton t-shirts as well as for woolen t-shirts. So there's a total of 18 products between those two different styles of t-shirt that have been already created in our data set. And they cover each of the different sizes and colors that those cotton and woolen t-shirts come in. Now with that data set up, if we now click on the combinations tab, there's 5 sub-tabs that exist within this part of the dataset. They are combination profiles, combination profile fields, combination profile field values, product combination products, and combinations. So I'll go through each of these tabs to show you the kinds of data that needs to be set up if we want to set up product combination data. The first is a combination profile, and a profile is used to be able to use the same fields, the same options that we see, and then define the values that are available for those options. Now we can use the same combination profile to cover many different products that are being grouped together. In our case, we're selling t-shirts. We don't want to have to, for each kind of t-shirt that we're selling or each style, we don't want to have to keep defining all the colors and sizes that are available. Most of the time, t-shirts only come in a finite amount of different sizes. So what we're going to do first is set up a new combination profile called t-shirts. So we need to give a combination profile, the key combo profile ID, a unique identifier for this profile. So let's just call it t-shirt. And then we'll give it a name. We'll also call it a t-shirt, and we can put any name description we want. So once we have a profile set up, we now need to add fields to the profile, the options that will allow users to choose from. So if we go into the profile fields, first we need to create a field. If we take our example, we'll create a field for the color. The best way to give these keys is we'll just copy the key combo profile D from here and we'll assign it there. So that says that this field that we're creating, we'll call it color. So that's another unique identifier we need to set for each field within a combination profile. And we'll give it a name which customers will see called color. So we've got the color field assigned to the t-shirt combination profile. So the next field that we need to create, also for the t-shirt profile, it would be size. Give that a unique identifier for the key combo profile field ID. And we'll give that also a nice name that people can see. And we can also set how we want these fields ordered. So if we look in our example, the color field is ordered before the size field. So that may have an ordering of 1, and then the size may have an ordering of 2 to reflect that. Now you can see that there's other information, so we can see when we're making changes to these fields, and if we have any notes or any other information, we can also add them there. So once we've got our 2 fields that we're using for our example set, then we need to assign those fields some values. So if we take the unique identifier, the key combo profile field ID, and then we go into this tab, we're going to stick that into this row. And now with each of the different values, the field values that users can choose from. So one of the colors that we want the user to be able to choose from is red, since we sell red t-shirts. So we'll add that field there. Once again, we'll get the same data from as set in the other tabs. The other color we also need to assign that we're selling is a blue t-shirt. So we'll put in the color blue, and then we'll give that a name, and we'll give the next t-shirt a color of green, since we also sell green t-shirts. So we're defining each of the values that would appear in drop downs that users would select from. So with all those 3 fields, we've now defined our fields, we've now defined the values that can set. We next need to create a product that is going to represent all of the different colors and sizes for this one cotton t-shirt. So if we go back into the products tab, you can see that all these products that we have here for t-shirts, they are the physical t-shirts that exist. But we need to create another product that represents the collection or the overall t-shirt that is a representation of all the different colors and sizes, just as we saw in the list here. So we need to create a generalized cotton t-shirt product. So if we go back into the data set, now most of the time these products will not exist because they don't physically exist in most accounting or ERP systems. We call it an abstract product, or we would call it a parent combination product. So if we give that product a generic name of cotton t-shirt, if we look at our example, and it has a description, so we'll put our description there. We'll give it a product code, since we need to. So the name is good for this example. And we also need to give it a unique identifier. All right, so now we have a product that exists that is a representation of all the different sizes and colors for this one cotton t-shirt. Now with this parent combination product created, if it's unique ID, and we go back into the combination tab, within the product combination parents, we need to assign this representational product to its associated t-shirt profile. So that way we know that this product, when we click on it, which fields are going to display for that parent combination product. So to do that, we put in the key of the product ID, and we also need to assign it to the profile. So we want to assign it to the t-shirt profile, and you can see then it finds the corresponding profile that exists, and then you can see all the details of that product that has been linked to it. Now we get into the fifth and final tab about setting up combinations data, is to assign the child products to each of the different values for this one cotton t-shirt. So if we go back into there, copy that key product ID, so you can see all the products that are set up in the products tab of the dataset are also listed in this product combinations tab. Now what we need to do is we need to go through each of the products which is relevant to our cotton t-shirt, and we need to assign it to the parent product that we set up here previously. So if we get that parent product's its key product ID, its unique ID, then we can go off and assign all these child products, which represent a single size and color for this cotton t-shirt, to its representational parent product. So we go off and do that. We can see on the right hand side we're getting options to be able to set the color that this child t-shirt would call it. You can see that by assigning the parent product to that child product, we can now set the size which corresponds. So we now got an option to choose to make sure that when the user picks the red option in the product combinations, that's going to be associated to the correct product. Now, what we're missing here is to see the other fields, because we haven't set the values up in the profile fields for the different sizes that are available. So we need to go back and do that as well. So let's get our sizes. So we can see now we've got for our one profile, we've got color and sizes fields. And for each of those fields, we've now set all the available values that users could choose from, which would be the colors red, green, and blue, as well as small, medium, large. We've set up a parent product, and then in our product combinations, if we refresh this and load it again, we can see that we've assigned small red t-shirt to the red color in the combination profile, and now I'm also going to assign it the small size field as well. So that's guaranteed that when the user chooses red and small, it's going to map to this product, which is defined here, called the cotton t-shirt small r product name. Now we have to go through for each of these products, we have to assign them to those parent products. So it's easiest just to go through here and assign them all. This can take a little bit of time depending on how many different options or field options there are available in the profile you have set up. So because we have 3 different field values as well as 3 different t-shirt sizes, that means 3 times 3 makes 9 possible combinations of products, or a maximum number of 9 different products that need to be set up for all the different field options that are available. So now we go through each product and then we set up the field options. So this is a small blue cotton t-shirt. So we choose blue as the color and we set its value as small. And then we go for the next one, which is the small green t-shirt, and then we set its size as small. Now you can see here, when we assign the parent cotton t-shirt to the child product, you can see that the size has already been set to medium, but it hasn't been set for the color. The way this works in the datasets is that if the product contains the name of the field value within its product name, then when we assign the parent product, it will automatically set the field's value based on being able to match up the word within the product's name. So we can see that because we don't have any of the words blue, green, or red in the product's name, the dataset feature is unable to determine, is this a blue t-shirt, is it a red t-shirt, or is it a green t-shirt? Now, if we had set in our data, if we go back into the products tab, if we had set the names of these colors, such as if I go back here and type each of the color names, then go back in the product combinations and reload the data. If we then go back into these medium-sized t-shirts, and we'll just clear out the parent and then reassign it again, you can now see that the color red size medium have automatically come up for both the fields, allowing both fields to be set up, or the field values to be set up for that child product. So it makes it much quicker and more efficient to set up the product combination data. So there's an example of how we can set up a cotton t-shirt that has each of the child products assigned to this parent combination product. If I then go into the woolen t-shirt, so we have to do the same. We have to set up a woolen t-shirt. Within the datasets, I go back into the product, I create another parent combination product. I give that a key product ID as well, a unique identifier for that product. Then if we go back into combinations, I also assign the same woolen t-shirt to the t-shirt combination, since we can use the same profile. So we don't have to set up all the same fields and values again for the woolen t-shirt. We're going to use the existing color and size fields and all the colors and values that have already been set up in the same profile that is used for the cotton t-shirt. So this is the power of using combination profiles. It makes it much quicker to use the same options available when we can do that. So we've now got our woolen t-shirt assigned to that same profile. Now it's just a case of going through the woolen t-shirts and assigning those child woolen t-shirt products to the parent woolen t-shirt products. We can speed this up by selecting multiple cells in the key parent product ID, clicking Ctrl V on the keyboard to then paste in the woolen t-shirt unique identifier. And then automatically we can see that some of the options have already been selected for us. So this reduces the amount of work again. Now we can see not all options it has been able to come up, so because we can see that the product name is not being correctly set. So it's very useful when setting up combinations to make sure the values of the options are also in the name of the product. And as well, when you're purchasing these final products, if we had the names of the combination options in the product names of the child product, it makes it very easy for customers to know what exact t-shirt they're buying in this example. So using this feature, it makes it possible to set up product combination data in datasets, and typically this data is not easy to set up or impossible to set up in most other accounting and ERP systems, since they don't typically have the data structures set up for combinations. So have a play with this, have a play with each of the profiles and come up with your own profile. So I was talking before about t-shirts, but you could easily come up with a different profile for mobile phones, and we could give that a different name, and then we could come up with more fields. So a phone, for example, could have storage size, it could have a color, and a phone could also have a finish, such as being a gloss finish or a matte finish. So you can have as many different fields as you can come up with. You may have 2 fields or 3 options. You may have 5 options or 10. Just remember, the more options you have and the more values you set for those options, the more total combinations of options that need to be then assigned to the child products. You generally want to try to avoid having too many options, because then you've got to do more of the data work to assign each of the child products to each of the individual options. But using datasets, it should be able to be made quicker, especially when you're setting the values of those options within the product names themselves and making sure that the values match your product names when setting up the field values. Another thing we can do within the product combinations tab is to assign a product to multiple parent combination products. So if we take an example here where we've got a large green woolen t-shirt, we may want to assign that t-shirt to not just the woolen t-shirt parent product, but we also may want to assign it to the cotton t-shirt parent product. Now it is also possible to do this. If you highlight the product row and click the insert key in your keyboard, you can see that that same product a row has been duplicated for that product, and then we can then assign that product to the associated parent product that we want to. So if we typed in that, you can see now that the green large woolen t-shirt is both assigned to the woolen shirt and a cotton t-shirt parent combination products. So that shows you how these real physical products that users end up buying from could be assigned to many representational products. If we want to unassign that product, we can then just simply clear the key parent product ID, and now we'll assign it from the parent product. It no longer appear when the user selects those options. And we can see there's other information, such as we can see the key or the unique identifiers of the fields and the values. We've also got columns here where we can do that. We can also search, so there's several search filters that we have available. We may only want to list all child products here that are assigned to a parent product with a certain ID. So in this case, we're now only seeing all the woolen shirt assigned products. And if we clear that field and click the Find Reload Data, then it resets the fields, and we can see all our list of products again. So there's quite a few different filters that we've got available here to be able to hide and show which products come up within this tab. So a majority of the time, you're going to be using the product combination parents and mostly the product combinations tab in order to manage and set up the data that you have got set up. Once we've got all your combination product data set, the next stage is to be able to export all this data out of the data set. And to do that, we need to have a generic adapter set up. So if we go back into the adapters and messages tab, we need to set up a generic adapter. So I've got one here for this example company called Donut Factory. If we go into there, within the settings dialog, we need to set up a data source to the SQLite database, because that's what all the data in the dataset is set to. So we give that a name, such as example dataset. And then within that, we then find the file of that dataset on our computer's file system. We can give it a test query just to make sure that we can connect to that dataset. Once that's done and save those changes, now we need to go into the combination export. So we have a combination to get out the profile data, the field values, the combination parent products, and then finally the combination products. So we need to go to each one. We need to assign it to that data source that we got set up, and then we need to provide the table. So if we open a browser and go into squizz.com docs connector / datasets, within this page, under the overview section, it lists out all the different tables, the names of the tables where all the product data is stored. So if we go, there's a table called combination profile, and that's where all that data is set. We need to save those settings. Then with the fields, we also need to enable those fields, so we need to map them in the generic adapter, and we need to continue to do this for each of the different data exports. So the fields would be next, assign that to the data set that we want to pull the data out from. We find the table for that, enter that in, and save those settings. Then the fields. Now in the documentation, there's also a section here for the combination data. So then we can find all the names of the fields that are available here. So we're looking at fields. So we need to get the key combo profile field ID, which is that one. Need to get the profile ID. What we're doing here is we're mapping data that's coming out of dataset to the standards fields, and because the columns in the dataset are named as the e-commerce standards, that makes it nice and easy to do this job. And then we do the same to get out the field values. So find the table name, assign it to the dataset, save the database table, and then we also assign that. And note that for the combination profile field for this key value field ID, it's actually named slightly different in the datasets. So we use the proper name there, and then field value is the other option indicated by the documentation. Enable that field. And then we set the values data, so we find the name of that table. So that is product combination parent. And then we also set those fields. Now we may want to put where clauses into the custom conditions to make sure that we only want to get active data out of the connector. So we will put in is active equals y, and that means that if we decide to inactivate certain records because we no longer want to export that data, then that would be ignored from going out and being sent to the associated e-commerce platform. And the final export is to set the combination products. So we also assign that to the dataset, get its table name from the documentation, put a where clause to only get active data. So active data means you can turn on and off data that is also exported out. Maybe you don't want to get all the combinations imported immediately. You only may want to get updated data. It's also possible. Activate that and then reload the fields for all those exports. Now once all those exports have been mapped, we can then go back into the adapters and messages tab and click on the export and routines for our adapter that we've set up, and then we can choose the product combination data export, and we can choose which location that all that product combination data is sent to. So we could choose the Totex platform, the Squizz platform, or the connected dataset. So we can import that combination data into a different dataset if we wanted to as well. That is also possible. To do that, you can also then, if you had multiple datasets, you could then set that up as well. So there's a lot of flexibility that's available in what data is getting pulled out, and we can also write even more interesting queries using SQL if we're using different database sources to get the combination data as well. Then once we've done that, we would then export it to the associated platform where it can be then imported, and then ultimately be displayed and accessible to our customers to be able to use this to then use the combination data to then buy products. So that gives you an example from start to finish on how to set up combination data within the datasets feature that exists within the connector application. And you can find more information within the documentation of the connector on how to utilize these combinations under its own section. and where we go into more details, provide more information about the fields that mapped, as well as how that data gets imported into datasets. So we can set also combination data up, and we can import it from associated accounting and ERP systems. If they do have subsets of combination data, that is also possible as well. And we can merge that in with data in datasets. So there's a lot of flexibility that is available to this feature. So if we go back into the dataset feature, another improvement we added into 1.12 connector release is the ability to have the product name appear in all the different tabs. If we're setting up categories, so we may want to set up another category for our example products called clothes, then we may want to assign our products that we had here, our 2 example parent combination products, we may want to assign them to a closed category, so we can go into here and do that. So the improvement we've added is where in each of the tabs where you can then assign products to different kinds of entities, there's now a column that's been added to allow you to see the name of the product that you're assigning to the different entity. So if we then go into the Sale Units tab, and where you can see all the products, you can also see now that it's product name column. In Attributes, if you're assigning attributes, we can also see the product name there, and we can also see that within the Product Combinations tab, the product name column here appears as well. This can make it easier to understand or to be able to find and locate the product in which you then want to assign data against. So that gives a wrap up of the 1.12 connector release. Highly recommend subscribing to the YouTube channel to receive future notifications about the great new functionality that we release. And until next time, happy squizzing!